When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Well, greetings, Boise State fans. Welcome on in. It's a Friday edition, Bronco Nation News Live. BJ Rains with you, Jay Tust, sports director over at KTVB as well. I must have been yelling louder at the TV for that Blues game last night than I thought. Jay woke up with a little bit of a hoarse voice, but we're going to power through today. We'll let you do most of the talking. Folks would rather hear from you anyway. But, man, it's a Friday. We're through another week. I know you're all over the high school scene yesterday, but there is a lot going on despite it being mid-May, especially in Boise State athletics with the softball team. You got the golf team starting tomorrow, and obviously we're going to continue our football series as well. Happy Friday, man.
Hey, happy Friday. There's only one way to begin this, by saying I hate you. Why do I say that I hate you? Because you apparently grew up in a sports town that constantly gets, I'm not going to say the benefit of the doubt, but rarely has to deal with as much disappointment and letdown as most people. It's so funny because I know that your listeners on here just love to hear about professional sports. I'm sure you'll get an email since we're going to talk about this. But yeah, your Blues beat the Minnesota Wild. I liked the Wild before my Kraken came into existence. You guys upset them in the opening round of the playoffs. And somebody sends out a tweet about how the history of Minnesota sports has been so difficult. And it seems like people just forget about how futile the Seattle sports scene has been, at least when it comes to NBA, MLB, now NHL, and pretty much any other professional sport with the exception of soccer. So, yeah, I'll get off my soapbox. But
the funny thing is, until the Blues won the Cup in 2019, the Blues were that NHL team that every year would get upset in the playoffs, have the President's Cup, and then choke in the first round to the 8th seed. Like that used.
For some reason, I don't remember that, BJ.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
That used to be the Blues. So now we win one. You know, we've got our one Stanley Cup, and actually, I'd be fine for the next 5 years if we didn't even make the playoffs. Yeah. So it's funny how the narrative all of a sudden changes. But yeah, I felt bad for our friends Will Hall, Dave Southern. I was texting with them a little bit.
Like the two nicest guys. Like you think the karma would be on their side and not yours. Wait, what?
Yep. Yeah, a jerk like me. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. But no, and you know. Hey, we lost our football team. It hasn't been all rosy for.
I know. I'm kidding with you. I just had to give.
No, it is funny how stuff changes. So yeah, I'm sure people love listening to us talk about St. Louis, Minnesota, and Seattle sports. But I'm excited to be here for another Friday edition of the show. And Jay, 3 weeks from today, we won't be on the show talking. You're doing a show on a Friday for coming out to Timberstone for a round of golf 3 weeks from today. We got the hole-in-one signs in, by the way, and I believe you are eligible, even as a celebrity participant. Hole 6 will have that nice Ford Escape. It'll be parked there. I think Jay's luck, he'll get a hole-in-one on 17 where you win a cooler, not the one where you win the car. But we do appreciate Lithia Ford of Boise for coming through with the hole-in-one sponsorships. And we're giving away a free car if you get a hole-in-one on hole 6. We've got some other great prizes as well. Just the latest in things that we're unveiling for the golf tournament. So it's going to be a lot of fun, Jay. My best chance of getting a hole-in-one would be on a 300-yard par 4. But as long as the hole-in-one hole is the hole to the right of the hole I'm actually on. Does that make sense? I don't know if that counts or not. Yeah, I didn't see that in the contract.
I don't know. Maybe we need Lithia to clarify that for us. So.
There is an actual like
That's
detailed.
chance.
I had never been a part of one of these. There is like a detailed official contract of how far it has to be from, how many people have to be watching, all this kind of stuff. You don't just give away a car if somebody says they got a hole in one. So yeah, it should be fun. We have like 4 foursomes remaining. If you are interested in playing, if you're interested in having Jay in your foursome, come on out 3 weeks from today. But we're got about a week left in the registration, so going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. We got you're going to get some golf balls. You're going to get a golf towel. You're going to get a T-shirt. You're going to get to, shake Jay Tust's hand. It's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. It's 3 weeks from today out at Timberstone Golf Course. And Chef Wally Jay, our friend, formerly of Fat Guys Fresh Deli, now has his new catering business, Just Cater It. He bought this huge, like 25-foot catering trailer. And this
have you seen pictures of that thing?
I have, and I'm going to be meeting with Chef Wally today to go over the menu and stuff. He's going to be unveiling his new business. That'll be his first official event out there making and if anybody knows Chef Wally, it's not just going to be like, pre-made sandwiches. He's got this huge buffet spread, all this veggie. I mean, it's going to be insane out there. So you get free drinks, free feast from Chef Wally. There's going to be a little Q&A afterwards, maybe with Jay and some of the coaches. Johnny and Prater are going to be doing their show live out there, so it's going to be a lot of fun. JL Skinner is going to be out there on behalf of Boise Dentistry Co. Riley Smith will be there on behalf of Tin Roof Tacos. So we appreciate Tin Roof Tacos and Atkinson's Mirror and Glass, some of our great sponsors, ICCU, rowpaint.com. So 4 foursomes left. If you buy the last 4 foursomes, I'll stop talking about it for 3 weeks. So come on out, and looking forward to that. It should be a lot of fun. That's 3 weeks from today. You can get more information at bronconationnews.com. Click on the golf tournament tab, or you can just email me at rains@bronconationnews.com. One of our latest confirmed guests, Jay, is Coach Schultz. Coach Schultz is going to be out there playing as well, assuming they're not in the College World Series, which will be a fair excuse for him to have to cancel.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that Coach Schultz. He'll throw us I bet you he throws his name into a long drive.
Okay. You think he can golf? You think?
I bet you he can. Just guess.
Hole 18, I believe, is going to be the longest drive competition on this one. And, we got all kinds of different people passing out free swag and free food and drinks. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be a who's who in 3 weeks. So come on out there. Looking forward to seeing you. And again, email me, rains@bronconationnews.com for more information. We are going to talk softball, but I want to start with football, Jay. We're unveiling our top 25 list. We're at number 21 today. As we wrap up our first week, we had Tyler Crow on Monday. You and I discussed James Ferguson Reynolds on Tuesday, the Australian punter. Latrell Caples on Wednesday as number 23. Prater and I had a really good discussion on Taylon Green yesterday at number 22. And today we hit number 21. Do you have any brief comments on the first 4 in the list?
Well,
we hit
my brief comment. My brief comment is that hopefully one day I can have the savvy experience and knowledge that Michael Forrest Prater has, as Johnny would say, because I should have looked at that list and done a little bit of math of my days, and I should have convinced you that Taylon should have been 21 so that he would have landed on today, Friday. But whatever. That was a more of an easy topic. Tip of the cap to Prater for I don't know
why I was fighting so hard for that,
but,
and I did that, and I was like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, I don't know if you figured that out, but well done, good sir.
Taylon Green's a big part, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we got at some point in time we're gonna have to figure out what Taylon can do, and it's gonna have to just stop being a bunch of noise, because the noise we hear that kind of has a negative connotation. What we've heard out of him is just nothing but a glowing review of his athleticism and what he could potentially do for the Boise State football team. So certainly eager to see somebody like him, one day, whenever that is, get an opportunity and see what he can do. Because, man, like I said, all we hear is that he is just a freak athlete. That it's funny, BJ. You talk with guys that left the program, over the last couple of years that at least got a chance to see what Taylon can do, and every single one of them are like, man, that kid is a freak.
Well, we saw at Pro Day too. All the scouts kind of oohing on with some of those throws. Yeah,
apparently he threw some 70-yard touchdown in the air, not like a 15-yard, dig or something, and somebody housed it. He threw a ball 70 yards in the air, and all of a sudden the scouts are like, who's that guy? So,
yeah, you have to wait 3 years to come back for him, maybe.
Yeah.
But, by the way, Rudy says, Jay, we still have the Seattle Storm.
You know what? As soon as I said that too, Rudy, thank you for calling me out on that, because the Seattle Storm, they have been probably the banner sports professional program in Seattle sports for the last decade or so.
Hey, we're going to get to number 21 on our list, but first, Transportation Compliance Service. Appreciate them and their support of Bronco Nation News. Whether you're looking for a fresh start, a career change, the trucking industry is booming right now. So transcompservice.com, they can help you every step of the way to get out there on the road. It's a great new business right now, very lucrative. So if you're looking to get into the trucking industry, transcompservice.com. They're a local company here in Boise, and they can take care of you and get you out towing that first load. Dr. Chris Minor, I was just out there earlier this week. I can report no cavities, Jay. Things are going well. Boise Dentistry Co. There's Dr. Chris Minor on the screen there. They're sponsoring, by the way, the closest to the pin contest at the golf tournament. So BoiseDentistryCo.com. They got locations across the Treasure Valley, a full family dentistry. So whether it's your kids, yourself, your wife, the full family is welcome. BoiseDentistryCo.com, and our friends at United Commercial Insurance as well. Another local company, but they can write policies in 44 states around the country. So if you own a business like Rudy, who's working with United Commercial Insurance, give them a call. Ask for Brandon. UnitedCommercialInsurance.com can take care of you and help you out. And again, all your workers' comp, all the business, all the liability insurance, deals, 44 states, they can write a policy for you. And they're sponsoring the longest drive. So maybe they'll be giving Jay his prize for the golf tournament there on hole 18. So we're looking forward to that.
I can imagine that up until Friday, June 3rd. And that's going to be what drives me.
Well, we can ask, Bree Eggers or somebody, but I think right around, 1 o'clock or whatever, when it's your turn to tee off on that hole, there is going to be a huge gust of wind coming from behind, to the south. Perfect. That's going to help you get an extra 20 or 30 yards on your drive.
Perfect. And if not, I'm just going to ask Bree to put in a good word with the weather gods to maybe help me out.
I would just hope for a nice day. It's been really weird with the weather, and let's just cross our fingers for good weather that day. It's going to be fun. But 21, Jay, this was an interesting one for me because I was looking at the positions, wanted to have multiple guys from the different positions. You want to have most of the starters included, and I'm looking at it, and I knew one of two guys was going to be in this spot, and we ended up going with a defensive lineman, Jackson Cravens. Cravens comes in at number 21. On the original list, we did have a lot of discussion, I know, with Bob and Johnny and I amongst Divine Obacheri. I know, there was other guys, Herbert Gums, you could have included in this mix, but the interior of the defensive line, obviously Scott Matlock's going to be featured way further in the series. But your thoughts, Jay, on Jackson Cravens coming in at number 21?
Yeah, I feel like, his career at Boise State's been kind of a long time in the makings. I mean, he transferred to Boise State, from a Pac-12 program, and then he had to sit out initially, and then he had the COVID year, and then he finally gets on the field last year, and he was pretty good when he was on the field. 36 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss. He had that sack against Utah State, which was probably his best game that he's had so far as a Bronco. But this is the type of guy that could potentially make a defense special, just because he could be like the second wave, if you will. Like, you just can't have the Scott Matlocks of the world. You need to have waves that, hit opposing offensive lines, throughout a game. And, I just think back to what made like those 11, 12 Boise State teams so special, is that's how they came at opposing offenses. Is like they always had elite ones, but the twos were always very good, and the threes were always at least capable. And so that's how they were just always fresh, it seemed like, and that's what made those defenses so good at times. And they need to get back to that. I know Andy Avalos and company, they want to get back to that. And Jackson Cravens is a guy, if he can stay healthy and if he can perform, he is a big body dude that can really provide this defense with some depth that makes them, different.
By the way, I noticed, Jay, on the stats, it looks like there's a little bit of a stat issue. There was, whether you look at the PDF or the other version, I think there was a game that wasn't counted. I've actually got Cravens at 39 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. I think there might have been a game. I think there was a game that either was counted twice or not counted. I don't know all of what's going on. I'm working on that. But I know in the game logs, looking at that Utah State game, 9 tackles in the Utah State game for Jackson Cravens, a sack, a forced fumble. He had 5 tackles against Oklahoma State, 5 tackles against Colorado State. He's had some moments for this team where he's been a dominant player, Jay.
Yeah, I'm going to mention that too, BJ. Go with the PDF file, because the PDF file is more often than not been a little more accurate than the other game log or whatever. Yeah, no, again, he's just a big body that can just again lean on you, and so if Boise State wants to get back to really being that dominant defense, he's a guy that it's funny, like you kind of want him in the second wave, I guess, like that would be an awesome position for this team if you can keep him there. Maybe he performs better and earns his way onto the first string. I don't know. There's so much time between now and the season. Things.
So who else? So who do you have as a starter then?
I mean, obviously with Scott Matlock's going to set the tone for this team, right? I mean, he's going to be so much to this defensive line and this unit that I can't. I mean, you got to. What is he capable of? Like, what I know that I don't want to jump too far ahead here, BJ. I know that because we have to save this for a couple of weeks from now. But like, if you get Scott Matlock right, what is he capable of doing? Can he be an 8.5 sack guy?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, if he can, then all of a sudden you're getting back to those David Moa days where they had a serious pass rush from the interior. Well, and so I don't know if Jackson Cravens necessarily fits that mold, right? Because he's not. He probably won't be that type of guy. But I think on the interior, you look at a combination of Jackson Cravens, Scott Matlock, obviously Divine Obasheri, Michael Callahan's going to work his way into the mix, and even the true freshman last year. I'm going to butcher his name, Ahmad
Hassanin.
Hassanin, yeah, he was a guy that seemed to be impressive at times last year, and so I
think Herbert Gums too. We hear a lot about
Herbert Gums. Yeah, gosh, you're right. I skipped over Herbert Gums.
And I know both those guys. Those a lot of those spots are in, whether it's nose or defensive tackle, are interchangeable. There's some guys playing both. But who are you thinking is going to line up next to Scott Matlock against Oregon State for the first year?
I mean, it very well could be the guy we're talking about today, in Jackson Cravens. Like it very well could be. I don't know how exactly things are gonna play out. I mean, I just don't. And I think that spring ball was kind of weird this year too, because it was difficult to get a feel for things because there were so many guys missing, and that basketball team kind of stole our attention, for a little bit longer than we're accustomed to this time of year. So it very well could be Jackson Cravens, now that I think about it. And either way, whoever does line up next to Scott Matlock is going to be living a good life, because a lot of attention is going to be rolling towards Scott Matlock.
Now, I want to talk about Divine Obasheri for a second, because he was a guy that I originally had serious consideration for this list.
Yeah.
I think when I looked at the overall production last year, only 16 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, a sack, a pass breakup. I think I leaned Cravens just because, 39 to 16 in terms of the tackle difference. But we've talked to Obasheri in spring. He lost some weight.
Yeah.
Those JUCO guys, when you get another year removed from JUCO and another year kind of, acclimated to this, and this is the year he didn't, think he'd have that third year at the Division I level. I do think there's reason for optimism for a big step forward from Divine this year.
Yeah, well, and that's like kind of what I get back to with this is Scott's played both of those positions on the interior for Boise State, and now Scott's actually kind of the bigger defensive lineman. So I don't necessarily know if that means that he plays nose, but as I was kind of thinking about this today, it did kind of initially slip my memory that Divine's down like 15, 20 pounds. So all of a sudden he's 285, which I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a nose anymore at that weight. And so maybe it is Jackson Cravens at the nose, and that might allow free up Scott Matlock to utilize his athleticism and get after the passer a little bit more. And so there's obviously a number of things that they can do, and we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that. But it seems like they're in a decent position when it comes to the interior. I know that they could definitely add more depth. I seen Ahmad get a little bit of playing time last year and look pretty good. That certainly is going to help, and same with Michael Callahan. But they definitely need all those guys to come along and in order to feel a little more confident about rolling into this season. And man, we saw last year BYU, it got pretty thin up front, and they had to get a little creative to patch that thing together on the defensive line. So Herbert Gums, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, BJ, but I think that was the first game back for Herbert Gums, and that was kind of he was ready to go, but that was definitely like on the expedited, accelerated timeline because they absolutely needed him in that game.
And there were multiple in the spring. There were multiple coaches or players where you mentioned who's impressed or who stood out or who's going to be a guy on the D line. And Herbert Gums was one of the first people they mentioned. So I think he has a chance to, make an immediate impact as well. So yeah, they're counting on that D line. Frank Miley's group. They're going to need that group to step up and obviously play well. So Jackson Cravens is our pick though at number 21, which kind of looped in with Divine and Herbert and all those guys. That group, that spot there on the interior of the defensive tackle, other than Scott Matlock, is going to have to step it up and play well for this team. So you can read the write-up. It'll be up shortly after the show on Jackson Cravens. There'll be a accompanying story online with all of these players moving forward. Kurt Blake chiming in, talk about the new football commit. I didn't know they got a new football commit that I had seen. There's one there in the running for, but I haven't seen them actually get anybody. Quickly, Jay, did you hear about Memphis? Did you see their new Liberty Bowl design? Talking about it being an arms race. It is interesting now that a lot of these schools are all, including Boise State, trying to put a message out there to the Big 12.
It's interesting. When we were all in Portland, I had the chance to catch up with a few of the Memphis reporters and talking about their football stadium. They rarely fill their facility, and I want to say theirs is like 62,000. Theirs is bigger than Boise State's, but that was one idea that a couple of their reporters were throwing at me is they need to condense that thing down to, a 45, 50,000 seat stadium so that when they get a decent crowd, it just doesn't look so damn empty. I mean, they get 40,000 on game day right now, which isn't a bad number, but 40,000 in a 60,000 plus seat stadium, it still looks fairly empty and a little disappointing. And so it's interesting. I know that, one thing that when it comes to Boise State's plans, like, there still are so many question marks of how they're going to get it done, when they're going to get it done, and all that stuff when it comes to money, timeline, whatever it might be. But, as you can see, even with Memphis's idea, it's not like they have this huge capital funding plan completely secured as they throw out their ideas and envision what they want their, football stadium to look like one day. It's just important to show the Big 12, I think, that you're moving, you're trying.
You're good. We're here, Jay.
I thought I lost you for a second.
I thought I lost you for a second.
Yeah, so like I think that's important is that you just show that you're being proactive and you're trying to push for more because the Big 12 the Big 12 doesn't want a Group of 5 program, right? They want a Group of 5 program that can be a Power 5 program and have Power 5 potential. And so by doing these things, you're trying to flex your muscles and show that you can be that to them.
Yeah, I just realized I'm not on Wi-Fi, or I'm not on Ethernet. I'm on Wi-Fi. So on your next answer, I may reset this if I disappear for a second. I'm coming right back, but
no worries.
So if I guess I'm probably not as crystal clear as I usually am, which I'm sure all the ladies are disappointed by that are watching this right now. But we'll make it.
Karen. Hey, Karen.
Yeah, we'll make it through. She's working 12-hour shift today at the hospital, so not one of our 47 people watching right now. So, I agree with you. They didn't have a price tag or anything else, and we did see that Utah State and BYU, their series is ending. The BYU Boise State series is ending. We saw the Longhorn Network is coming to an end when Texas moves into the SEC. It does sound like this is a year from now, man. It's crazy to believe, but like BYU is going to be in the Big 12 next year. Like this conference realignment stuff is happening fast. And then I think once Texas and Oklahoma figure out when they're leaving, I do think Memphis and Boise State, that could have an impact on them. Yeah.
And it's just crazy how, I know it was just like a basketball game in March Madness and everybody had a lot of opinions about it, but when you look at the landscape right now, when it comes to not just college football, but college athletics, it definitely seems like Memphis and Boise State could be two attractive options. Boise State for their football program, Memphis for their basketball program. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about record production, NBA prospects, whatever it might be, because Leon Rice has done a great job at Boise State. But if you go back and you look at like Memphis's basketball budget aligns with, some current Big 12 basketball budgets to where Boise State's still quite a bit behind. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong again, BJ, but I swear Memphis's basketball budget was roughly 3 times what Boise State was.
Oh yeah, their coaching staff was the salary disparity in the coaching staff was pretty crazy. But
and on top of that, when it comes to NIL, let's just say that I don't think there's just any coincidence that Kendrick Davis wound up at Memphis.
No, and we may even had a heads up that might have been happening. Yeah, that was crazy the way that worked out. Yeah.
I think there's some money over there.
Kurt, I like Ron. Great job. Does a great job. Works hard, but there was no commitment last night. He had an article saying they were in the running for a guy. So if he does commit, we'll talk about him. But there was no commitment, Kurt. But appreciate you watching. Let's talk softball, Jay. The softball team. I do want to mention how they're doing, and they're obviously off to we talked about it with Coach earlier this week. They're off to they were off to a great start. They've kept it rolling. They're trying to finish the season strong here. 2 regular season games left. Coach believes, like he told us last week, if they can win today and tomorrow, that they would have a strong chance of getting into the NCAA tournament. It's games they theoretically should win. Colorado State's under 500. They took care of business yesterday in game 1, and it's easier said than done to say, we've got to win our last 12 games. And I don't care if you're playing the worst 4 teams in the league, to say, okay, yeah, we just got to win our last 12 games and we're in. Anything can happen in a 6-7 inning game. I mean, it's crazy. And for them to this point to be 10-0 during this stretch, I believe, with 2 left here, it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's been incredibly impressive. And you even go back to yesterday's game, BJ, and Boise State gets up 3-0, and things looked pretty good. This top of the second, Abby Bumcrot, who has been unreal at the top of the lineup for the Broncos during this stretch of ball they're playing right now. She hits the 2-run shot in the top of the second. That made it a 3-0 ball game. As Abby rounds the bases, I'm also just going to point out how grateful we could be for Dom Shelton and the guys and gals over at Boise State for the video production that they put on, because this was like a 1-camera shoot from the outfielder, and I don't even know if they used a tripod.
When you first posted this, I honestly thought it was like Rocky Mountain softball highlights.
Nope, this is what they do. In comparison, Boise State, I'm not sure how many cameras they have. I know they at least have 4, probably more than that. They do such a good job. But anyways, getting back to the highlights, top of the 6th, Boise State's actually down 4-3, and Kelsey Hall hits the first pitch of the inning out over the wall in right center field. And then later in the inning, you have Allison Sang that goes oppo for a 2-run bomb. And this right here ended up being the difference maker. Boise State rallies back after being down 4-3 in the 6th to win 6-4. They pushed their winning streak to 10 straight games. They've already set a program record. That was their 71st home run of the season. So everyone they hit from now on out is just going to continue to further that mark. They are 38-10 on the season, BJ. If they win out, they get to 40. 40 would tie the single-season school record for wins. On top of that, they at the moment, by winning yesterday, they've actually solidified at least tying the best overall record in conference play. So I'm not just talking about like conference record. I mean overall record. Even if they lose their final 2 games, that would give them 12 losses. And UNLV right now only has 12 losses. So
that sweep hurts, man. That sweep hurts, though.
That sweep hurts, and if it really comes down to that, like if you're watching this today and you're wondering what can happen to Boise State to better their chances of making the NCAA tournament, it is them winning out at Colorado State and maybe UNLV losing 1 more game this weekend. And I know we kind of go to like, oh, don't you want UNLV to do good because they beat Boise State? In this case, I don't know if that actually is what you want to happen. And the only reason why I say that is because if I think in all likelihood that, the NCAA wants to take 2 teams out of the Mountain West, and 3 might seem like a lot. And if that's the case, you just want a little more separation between Boise State and UNLV that makes the Broncos look a little bit better. But BJ, seriously, Boise State's one of the hottest teams in the country right now, having won 10 straight games. 40-10, man, gosh, that looks good on paper. And when you just see the way that, for the most part, they have been pummeling teams of late, it just seems like they deserve a shot to get into the NCAA tournament this year.
Well, and I know there's more that goes into it than just, where the game is, but they only had 12 home games. I mean, it's crazy. And I know early, you have to do that early in the season in Boise, Idaho, play a lot of tournaments where you go play 5 games in a weekend somewhere. But to have, what are they at? You said they're 38-12. So they played 50 or 38-10. So they played 40. They've played 48 games and 12, I believe, were at home. I mean, they're only behind number 1 Oklahoma in terms of road or neutral site wins. This season. So they've had to leave Boise to win most of the games this year, and it's been pretty impressive.
Yeah, and this might knock them. I don't know. It might hurt them. But you mentioned that sweep against UNLV here in Boise. The Broncos also went 1-2 against San Diego State. That game was in San Diego, or that series was in San Diego.
The extra inning game they could have won. Oh.
Right. Well, they pick up a 6-2 victory to kick that thing off, and then they had that extra inning game. They lost 3-2, and then they lost the series finale 3-2 as well. So those were 2 really close games. Where I'm getting at here is when you look at their record against UNLV and San Diego State, Boise State's 1-5. That means they're 16-0 against all other Mountain West competition this year. So, some of the teams at the top of the conference got the best of the Broncos. I think they would love a second do-over at the UNLV series, but that's just not going to be the case right now. And,
those clips aired on the Mountain West Network. Also, you had them on KTVB last night, so appreciate you for sending that over. Quickly before we get out of here, Jay, another team doing well, the golf team. They head tomorrow. They're down there, but they start tomorrow, I believe, right, for the NCAA Regional down in Texas. We had Coach Potter on the show on Wednesday. Second year in a row, which is the first time in program history they've made the regional 2 times in a row. Hugo Townsend, the Mountain West Player of the Year for the 2nd straight year, Skylar Eubank. So good luck to the golf team tomorrow, trying to make some history, but it's going to be a little bit of an uphill climb.
Yeah, on this picture right here, if you go over to the right, 3rd golfer in, tall guy, that's Hugo Townsend, the back-to-back Mountain West Men's Player of the Year. Pretty big accomplishment by him. Number 1 ranked golfer in the Mountain West, number 39 in the NCAA right now. If Boise State's going to make a run at nationals or regionals or whatever, he's going to be a kind of a catalyst behind that. But Dan Potter's doing an incredible job with that program. It's one that's absolutely on the rise right now. It's funny, BJ, first time that the men's golf team goes to the NCAA championships was in 1994. They didn't make it back until last year, and now they're already going back again. So that should give you the perspective you need to realize how quickly this program is building and the trajectory they're on. And one more note about Hugo Townsend. I mean, you want to talk about a lead company. Graham DeLette and Troy Merritt, the 2 best golfers to come out of Boise State, each won Conference Player of the Year during their respective careers 1 time. Look where their careers have taken them on the PGA Tour, BJ. And now Hugo's done it twice. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of career wins, scoring average, all this stuff, Skylar Eubank and Hugo Townsend are now in that conversation with Graham DeLette and Troy Merritt in terms of what they did at Boise State and in terms of going down in history. So to have, theoretically 2 of the top 5 golfers maybe now in school history. And I think Hugo Townsend's a really interesting deal. I know Coach Potter doesn't want to talk about it. The school doesn't really talk about it, but I mean, he retweeted a graphic. He's already announced he's going to Ole Miss for his next season. He's got 1 year left as a grad transfer. That's unheard of for me. I've never heard of that where a guy, takes visits, commits to another school, and has plans to go there as a grad transfer, but is still finishing the season somewhere else. And so it just shows, I guess, what Dan Potter thinks of him to let him stick around and finish the season. And, they're certainly taking advantage of him while they can until he leaves, but he's going to play at Ole Miss next year. It's kind of interesting, just a little interesting side story.
It is kind of an odd – I mean, this is NCAA athletics today. He's not the first. He won't be the last that, is in this predicament, but we'll see how he handles it.
Yeah, well, good luck to them. They start tomorrow. I think it's 3 rounds, right? I believe. So they're down there in Texas. So they've got to finish 5th. And I think they're like the number 9 seed or something. And there's like, the 5 of the top 30 golf teams in the country down there. So it's going to be an uphill climb for them. But best of luck to the golf team. Coach Potter is going to be out there at the golf tournament on June 3rd. So you get a chance to congratulate Coach Potter on a good year. And Coach Downs, the women's golf coach, will be there as well. So it's going to be fun. And we'll have to see, maybe we get Jay in a foursome with Coach Potter and Coach Schultz and see who comes out on top.
Hey man, I could use some pointers. I'll take it.
Appreciate it, Jay. Have a good weekend.
You too, bud.
You'll be out there doing more district. Is it softball or baseball?
Both the craziness. District baseball is actually over for the most part, but softball wraps up tonight with the championship game. So,
well, we'll be seeing all the highlights on KTVB throughout the newscast tonight and the rest of the weekend. So we appreciate your time, and I don't know if we've looked at the list to see who you'll get with number 19 next week, but hopefully for your sake, it's an exciting one. We'll see.
I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Appreciate it, Jay. Take care, man.
Bye, bud.
There he is, Jay Tust, KTVB. We appreciate him for joining us, as always, for his Friday segment. Sports director, and does a great job. We appreciate him for coming on. A couple other great sponsors I want to tell you about, the blueandorangestore.com. Whether you're in town, in Boise, just go over to the Boise Town Square Mall. The Blue and Orange store is there. They've got those new retro mini helmets now. They've got all the great Nike gear, the jerseys, the hats, all that stuff. So go check them out at the Boise Town Square Mall. But if you're not in Boise, you can go online, theblueandorangestore.com. They provided 3 mini helmets, which we sent down to Kellen Moore to autograph for the golf tournament for the raffle. So Kellen Moore is in the process of sending back some mini helmets that the Blue and Orange store provided. So we appreciate their support. Thank them for that. And that'll be part of the raffle for the golf tournament, with some of the proceeds going to the Idaho Youth Sports Commission. Ridley's Family Markets as well. ShopRidleys.com, 13 Idaho locations. You can get more information, ShopRidleys.com. They have the at-home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery, all the great new technology. So check them out, ShopRidleys.com. Matt Bauscher Real Estate, always appreciate his support as well. The number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. He'll be out at the golf tournament, so you can meet Matt Bauscher as well. We promise we will not eject him from the golf tournament. He'll be out there having a good time. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Matt will be out there. So please thank him for supporting Bronco Nation News and Boise State Athletics as he did with the NIL deal for Chibuzo Agbo. You can see him, BauscherRealEstate.com, and please consider him when you're buying or selling your next house. And Timberstone, play Timberstone. I'm actually heading out there today to meet with Chef Wally and go over some of the food and some of the logistics. So playtimberstone.com, the best greens in the valley. Book that tee time today. We're going to be giving away some rounds of golf here coming up on the show. We've got some free rounds of golf to give away next week on the show as we count down towards the tournament. So pay attention for that. But if you're looking for a new course to try, playtimberstone.com. Book your tee time. Timberstone Golf Course. Kelly Christensen, Tad Holloway do just a tremendous job out there. So go check them out. Playtimberstone.com. All of our great sponsors, we appreciate them. Bronco Nation News would not be possible without the likes of Idaho Central Credit Union, Lithia Ford of Boise, rowpaint.com. 3 of our huge pillars here at Bronco Nation News that help keep us going. So we appreciate ICCU, rowpaint.com. They are both co-title sponsors of the golf tournament. The ICCU is going to be giving away some T-shirts. We got Row Paint giving away some golf towels. We got golf balls. It's going to be all kinds of cool stuff. And then, as I mentioned, Lithia Ford of Boise is giving away the hole-in-one and some other great prizes, including a 2022 Ford Escape that you can just drive off the property there, I believe, if you get a hole-in-one from Lithia Ford of Boise. They'll have it there at hole 6 on the tee box. So appreciate to Jim Sturk and Lithia Ford of Boise. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. That'll do it for this week. We'll have the story on Jackson Cravens at number 21 up on the website a little later this morning. And we'll have a great weekend. And then we'll start with number 20 as we continue the countdown next Monday as we count down the 25 most important players to the Boise State football team during the 2022 season. So hope you're enjoying the series. Hope you're enjoying the show. And I promised you we'd have coverage even in the offseason, and we will. So we'll have some basketball coverage next week as well. We saw Jace Whiting came back from his mission, I believe, in Finland. Saw some Boise State's coaches out there at the airport on social media kind of welcoming him back. So we got the news never stops. So the Boise State football schedule should be coming out next couple of weeks. The TV schedule in terms of the different games and things that are coming out. So we'll the TV schedule in terms of any games moving to Thursday or Friday or some of the early TV games that should be in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be covering that as well. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. If you're not a subscriber, hope you'll consider BroncoNationNews.com. It's just $6.99 a month. Or $70 gets you a full 12 months of we got recruiting news, all kinds of stuff on the website, BroncoNationNews.com. So have a great weekend. We appreciate you for checking us out. And as always, keep it tuned for the latest breaking news. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.
At ICCU, to make a difference, it takes just one connection. A friendly face, an open ear, a help. helping hand. And then something amazing happens. We find out that we're better together. This is what Idaho Central does in our communities every day. We help our members with the small things and big dreams. This is what believing in you is all about. Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.